from the attic. You can check out my website, thehohoshow.com. You can follow me on Twitter. You can email me, hoho@thehohoshow.com. You can check out my YouTube channel and find me on Facebook. Telephone number, as always, 217-917-4405, but it doesn't work right now anyway. So welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. All right. Well, guys, welcome, everybody. Welcome, Spreaker. Welcome, Periscope. Welcome, YouTube and Twitch and Mixer and Facebooks. Welcome, everybody. This show is going to be a little bit of a, if you want to call it a cluster. Well, okay. Pretty much the entire show is going to revolve around gun control. However, there was a few topics that I wanted to, well, basically one kind of thing I was wanting to cover with everybody because, and this is more or less based off of a conversation I had with a buddy of mine just earlier in the week. And, you know, it's kind of one of the things that, well, you know, we'll get into that later. But first, I was wanting to kind of go through and just let everybody know about what's going on as far as with Weaponized Sloth Productions. So, I did go ahead and get the website up and running. You can go to it if you want to, weaponizedSlothProductions.com. And there's really not a whole heck of a lot to look at. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm still building it. I'm trying to get the shopping cart put together and everything else so that this way, you know, the products that we have will be able to sell those on the website. It's a lot of work. I'm trying to put everything together and get the whole entire thing set up. So that's what I've been doing most today. Ran out of time. I had a bunch of stuff from yesterday of topics that I was wanting to get to for today, so I just kind of stayed with the same theme. So we're going with gun control. So very, very good times. You know, there's just a lot out there, and yeah, just want to talk about it. So first, let's go ahead and go into the other topic that I had, and that's more or less, you know, oh, how did I word that? Let's look. How did I word that? Yeah, so a discussion on government and why they hate Trump. Yeah. Sounds fun. You know, it's one of them things, especially when it comes to government and politics, things of that nature. You know, a lot of people, you know, they're getting their basis of what they know from more or less how they were taught in school. And to be completely honest with people, okay, whenever you have, all right, let's put it this way. If I am writing a book or I am the director of the movie based on my life, I am going to more or less make myself out to be the hero, okay? And we all would, okay? Whenever we are the ones who are doing the education system, whenever we are educating people about ourselves, that's exactly what we're going to do. You know, we're going to put ourselves in the best light, and that's all there is to it, you know. So, but the bad thing is, you know, what if that best light isn't exactly accurate? And that's what we have here. When it comes with politics, whenever it comes with government, how things are run, you know, there's a lot of things that the government, through the education system, that they omit, they leave out, they don't tell you, they don't keep you informed on, because in a matter of speaking, they don't want you informed. You know, so most people have a very skewed understanding as far as, you know, what the powers are, about how government is run, who runs government, and, you know, just a lot of different things like that that people are not truly aware of. You know, one, because government, you know, the education system, it leaves that information out and doesn't tell people. And, of course, the other aspect of that is, you know, that a lot of people don't do their own research, you know, and I'm sorry to say that, but, I mean, just that's the fact of the matter. Most people just don't. You know, they really don't. So from that conversation that we had, you know, government, a lot of people are not aware of and don't necessarily understand that all of government, all of politics, period, is controlled by two private industries. They are not controlled by government entities. They are controlled by private industries, because the RNC and the DNC are not government entities. They are privately owned businesses. So all of government from the top down is controlled by private industry. Okay? Again, most people don't realize that because they just assume automatically, and there's nobody there to tell them any different, that it's a part of government because it has to do with government and politics, so therefore it has to be a part of government or a function of government. It's not. You know, and of course, because of that, these private industries, well, they're not beholden to the people. You know, they're not beholden to the people at all. You know, so something to keep in mind. So another aspect of this, of what I put in here, is why they hate Trump. Obviously, because he doesn't belong to one of the private industries, they don't want him there. Regardless of anything, they do not want him there because he is not a politician. He did not, you know, go through the mud. He did not come up through the ranks. He did not get promoted from within, if you want to, you know, consider it that. And that's more or less what it amounts to. You know, that's why Mitt Romney, you know, because it was his turn. You know, you come up through the ranks and then you're rewarded with being able to run for president. Well, Trump didn't go through those routes. He was a individual that went through and he disrupted the entire system, letting everybody know that, hey, you know what, this could be done. Outside the private industries, this can absolutely be done. So they don't like him. All right. Another aspect of this, and that's more or less a who actually controls things. All right. Most of everything, as far as laws goes, all right, now me, I'm a truck driver, so I can speak to you from a very personal point of view in saying that my entire life is governed and regulated by the executive branch. Because the Department of Transportation, which is where all the hours of service regulations come from, it's a function of the executive branch. Now, here's another problem, you know, and this is one of the problems that Trump is having, okay? The Department of Transportation, the EPA, the Department of the Interior, the FDA, all of these departments, Department of Education, every single one of them, they are all a function of the executive branch, and therefore they are beholden to the president, whom is beholden to the people. Now, here's the thing, though. All the heads of these different departments, they're not beholden to the people. They're not elected, they're hired. And generally speaking, you know, whenever you are in a position for a period of time, they like to, you know, let you keep that position. And this is one of the things that's, being completely honest with you, you know, one of my issues that I've had with President Trump, you know, he's done a lot of good, and I give him that. But one of the things that he has failed to do, you know, and this, I don't want to completely say it's no fault of his own, because it is, but at the same time it isn't, you know, because he's listening to people whom, you know, he's listening to people whom are advising him on how government is being run, and of which case he is the thorn in the side that is doing everything outside the box, and of which case, why are you listening to people whom are lifelong politicians whenever the people have already made it clear that they don't want a politician controlling government? So why would you do that? I have no idea. But with the heads of all these, you know, different departments, he didn't just fire him and bring in his own people. Quite personally, I think that's what he very much should have done. Okay. Now, granted, he would have gotten a lot of slack from everybody if he would have done that. But hello, you know, you look at President Clinton's administration, he fired. Now, I don't remember the exact numbers on a lot of these. You know, I don't remember, or at least not the circumstances. Shit, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't remember exactly how it, you know, if it was, there was 94. I don't remember if that was 94 heads of department, 94, you know, different district judges and everything else that was in there. But he basically purged the entire executive branch, all the departments, you know, the judges, everywhere that he basically could. All the higher-ups, he purged the entire system and put his own people in there whom were dedicated to the Democrat agenda. Okay? So the problem is, most of the people that are in there right now are either, were either put in there by Obama and his administration, therefore they do not have any ties to the Republican administration, and therefore they do not have any ties to him, or are establishment Republicans that really don't want to support Trump, and most of them even look at the White House as the enemy. Your boss is the President of the United States of America, and here you're going to say that you're going to war against the president? He can fire you like that. There's a problem there. And that's one of the reasons why Trump has had so much of an issue getting some of his agenda done, is because he does not have people under him that are supporting him and trying to hold him up. They're trying to tear him down and get him out of there. And that's one of his problems. I really wish that he would just clear it away, fire all these people, get rid of them, bring his own people in there whom share his vision for this country, to make America great again. So there's my rant on that. And, one of the aspects on that is that it is, the Constitution says that it is supposed to be, the legislative branch that writes the laws. However, whenever you are talking with the executive branch, with the Department of Education, with the Department of Transportation, they write regulations that has the exact same weight as law. If I drive, being a truck driver, if I drive over 11 hours over the regulated time that I'm supposed to be, or no, wait, let me word this better. The regulations say that I only have 11 hours within, my driving time without taking a 10-hour break that I can drive legally. So if I drive 12 hours, I broke the regulation. Well, guess what happens to me? I get fined, I get ticketed, and I have the possibility of losing my license. If you, and that is a regulation. That is not a law that was voted on by the House and the Senate and written by the president. That was not a law that was put into effect by people whom were voted into office by the people. This is a regulation that was written and enacted by people whom are not beholden to anybody. If you don't like what the Department of Transportation doing, guess what? There's not a damn thing you can do about it. There is nothing. You can't vote him out and put somebody else in there. Hello, we've already done that. We have Trump now. A lot of the same people are in there. The boss may change, but the people underneath, most of them stay the same. So there's a problem. And most of the rules and regulations that people have to follow, or the laws per se that people have to follow, are actually put in there by the executive branch. It wasn't intended to be like that, but most people don't realize that. They don't really, they don't notice it, and it's no fault to themselves. And part of it is one of them things that, because we just have this idea the government does and should work a particular way, we don't pay attention to how it really does work, because we just assume that it works the way we think it does, which is how we were taught in school. Which there's a lot they didn't tell us, obviously, because most people just don't know. But in today's day and age, I'm one of them types of people that I don't take that as an excuse not to know. I mean, we live in the information age. Most people out there have at their fingertips a freaking computer in the palm of their hands that they can look up anything. They can find out anything. They can research anything and get the answer in a minute, in a second. So I don't take the excuse of, I didn't know. Because considering how technology is nowadays and how readily available information is, you don't know because you didn't want to know. You wanted to remain blind and ignorant. That's no excuse in today. That's no excuse for today. Not at all. So, now that I'm done with my rant, yeah, I'm done. Happier times are coming. We'll go ahead and take a quick break, and going to slide into gun control. Amazing topic. Now, there's a couple different parts of this debate that I'm going to hit. You know, actual gun control, and even a couple measures that people have talked about as far as what could actually be done that would help. And yes, there are answers for that. A lot of people, you know, they say that the Republicans or, you know, the NRA or just gun advocates and Second Amendment advocates and people like us, that all they say is, no, you shouldn't do that, but they don't bring forth a comprehensive solution. Well, it's been done. And a lot of the reasons why, or at least in my frame of mind, of why we don't do that is because it's already been done. I'll get more into that later. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. Let's play this song. This is a good one. I like this song. Just a few minutes. Be right back. Actually, 2 minutes. Be right back.
I believe that our problem has not been that anybody in our country is undertaxed. It's that government is overfed.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Got that stinking song stuck in my head for saying that. Welcome back, Cotter. You know, anybody ever seen that? You know, like I said yesterday, you know, there's one of them things that just had a bunch of TV shows from the 80s and whatnot going through my head. Welcome Back, Cotter was one of them that just doesn't want to seem to go anywhere. It wants to just stay stuck in my head, and it's annoying. Then Three's Company. It's another good one. Yeah, Taxi. I like that one. Dana DeVito. That was a good show back in the day. You know, that's one thing I miss about not having network television right now is because Nickelodeon was... Oh, dude, I had a horseshoe today, actually. Oh, yes, I did. I had a horseshoe, and it was amazing. Horseshoes are great. I love horseshoes. Oh, yeah. Horseshoes are great. And yes, I even had one from the place that you don't like all that well. So... I did too. I ate it all up. It was great. Is the feed actually going okay? Because right now I'm just looking at a blank screen. It's not doing anything. So on at least Facebook, it's not showing me anything. It should be. Well, heck yes, with the white sauce. It was amazing queso sauce. Heck yes, it was. See, I know there's a delay, so I'll just wait patiently for the response on the quality of the stream at the moment. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate it, sir. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into this. So, as I said, gun control, and I didn't take hardly jack for notes. All right, so where am I going to start? I don't want to start there. I don't want to start there either. Let's go with... I don't want to do that either. Let's go ahead and... Yeah, should we do that? Yeah, we should do that. All right. This story comes from the Daily Wire. I'm a fan of the Daily Wire. I like it. Very good site. Very... it's more, conservative leaning, which is to say that it gives you more truth, unbiased truth than most others out there. And of course, I get all of my stuff from Flipboard, which is my go-to hub for anything, everything, and all things news. And also, just to let you guys know, I did go ahead and put the show notes for the articles and whatnot that I am getting this information from is available on my website, thehohoshow.com. And if you go to the link marked news on there, it comes up with my blog. You can click onto that, which will take you to Flipboard. Yeah, I know it's kind of a roundabout way to do it, but oh well. That's just how I ended up having to be done. I would actually like to really streamline that more to where it's just like one click and you're where you want to be. But at the moment, I'm working with what I got. So yeah, I actually probably could just put I could do that. I probably could do that. Yeah. I want to try something. I want to throw in a new page in there because I don't want to try it and then totally screw up the page by itself in the website, because that would suck. That would really suck. So this headline, it comes from the Daily Wire. Headline, flashback, billionaire gun grabber shows that he knows nothing about guns. Yeah, and I watched this video, and like I've mentioned before, most of these people on the liberal left, whenever they're crying about, guns and, gun laws, most of them really have no freaking clue about what it is that they're actually talking about. They don't understand guns. They don't understand ballistics. They don't understand that certain things that people put on their guns is nothing more than cosmetic that doesn't change the ballistic and the accuracy of the gun itself. It just does nothing more than change its appearance, which does not make the gun more deadly. But they don't understand. Most of the laws that they throw out there is purely put in there for, aesthetics, not aesthetics. What's that spiffy diffy word I'm looking for? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a word. Words are amazing. But yeah, so I watched this video that was attached to it, and, yeah, he has no idea. He has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, and it's hilarious. But the problem is, these are the people who are writing the laws that just throw out random words out there expecting that people's going to know what they mean because they're so freaking smart and that they think that the words don't matter. That's what they do. So, hello, sir. Good to see you as well. Did I type something? Things acting like I typed something. I didn't type anything. Don't you look at me like that. But, yeah, that's generally what it amounts to, So, there's that. Oh, okay, good. I thought I screwed up there. And of which case, one of the things, too, and this article comes from Red State, and yes, gun grabbers having it should be a necessity for these guys who are wanting to write, gun laws, that they should know what they're talking about. They very should. These people are the ones who are writing the laws. Is it too much to ask that they research guns, that they research what they're talking about and actually know a little bit? I don't see as if that's a problem. I really don't. It's not too much to ask. You would think that these people are that concerned about guns, that concerned about, saving people's lives, that they would want to do this, just for sheer accuracy. They would want to do this. But it's very quite honest, very quite, what's that word? It's very easy to see, very plain and very apparent that they really just don't care. And it's a shame. They really don't care. So, So one of the things that the Republicans get battered at for a lot is that, what is our solution for this? What is our solution? And for the most part, our go-to place for that is, what gun law could have been written in order to stop whatever tragedy just happened. And most of the time, the only thing that we can say is, or that anybody else can say, was nothing. But they feel as though they have to do something. So because of a tragic event, the outcry is gun legislation, even though that's not really the time to write gun legislation, it's really not. The Democrats are out there, they're like, hey, leave the no tragedy, waste no tragedy. That's pretty much what they say. Or the door shut. I'm not hearing things. And I'm not hearing anything either. All right, so cool. All right, so this, so of course, of where I was going to, let me try to find it again. Now this one, all right, well, should I do this one or should I do that one? This one, that one, this one, that one, this one, that one. Let's go with this one. I'm kind of changing directions a little bit, slightly at any rate. Yeah, English. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, English sucks. English is a first language, man. It's horrible. So this headline comes from Common Dreams. Insane NRA wins again as Florida law to stop school shootings includes more guns in school. Now, this one, it's one of the things that the NRA, like within the hour after this law gets written, the NRA puts out they file a lawsuit against Florida to get this changed. And this aspect of the law, of what they're talking about in this article, actually is about the only, real win, I would even say, in this, because one of the things that it talks about in here is actually getting it to where, teachers and different things like that, they can actually carry a gun. And this is called, you see, let me find the, where it actually says what the name of this provision is. I don't see it. Don't see it. It might be in another article, though, too. Another article. But it was named for the teacher, the security guard, I think is who he was, whom actually died trying to protect students. And that's who this bill is named after. And and that's the only win in this entire bill. The rest of the stuff in there from what I looked at and what I had read either yesterday, day before yesterday, just nothing more than throwing more regulations into it, overstepping their bounds, and just doing nothing more than violating the Constitution. Second Amendment shall not be infringed. They don't get it. They don't get it at all. But there was an aspect of this that I seen that I was quite impressed of, and actually some stuff that I did not even realize too. So going back to, what I was talking about with the Florida now allowing the state to, or the teachers in the state, in order to carry guns, I was not aware of this one. Brand new on me. So Florida now is becoming the 15th state to allow teachers and other school staff to undergo law enforcement training and to carry guns in the classroom. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is a win. This is something that if our students, if our children mean so much to us, wouldn't you want to make it to where they have their own security? Make it to where they are secure. You've got people like Hillary Clinton out there that, she's got armed security guards. She's protected if something happens. Why aren't your kids protected? Why are their kids protected and our kids are made to go unarmed as nothing more than moving targets, soft targets? That's not acceptable for me. So I am liking the fact that I am finding this out. the 15th state to allow teachers allow teachers to, and other, school staff to have guns in the classroom, which is very amazing. Now, of those, the 15 states are, let me go ahead and get to the list. Read more. Trying to find it. This is a huge article. There's a lot in here, actually. So, all right, the teachers in at least one school district are armed. Those states are, you got Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, Minnesota, Utah, Colorado, South Dakota, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Indiana, Iowa, and Mississippi. Now, there are also 14 states that there are particular loopholes in how the law is written, and if they were approved by the education and by the sheriff's department, that teachers, or at least some school board members or whatever, would be able to carry in school. And now there's 14 of those, and those include, that's the same list I just got done reading. Oh, never mind. 16. Okay, so yeah, there's 16 other ones that have loopholes in place to where they can get teachers or other people in order to carry, and those are Nevada, Arizona. I don't even know what state that is. Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Michigan, Indiana, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana. No, that's Mississippi. Yeah, that's Mississippi. And Georgia, Florida, West Virginia, New York. New York ain't no way. Well, New York's one of them. Yeah, they got loopholes in there. So, and Hawaii, actually, so just to name a few of them. So, yeah, so the majority of it, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so basically meaning that there's only 6 states that don't have anything in there as far as no teacher, because some states you've got, they can carry. You've got some to where, they're allowed through loopholes, and you have other ones, a slight handful of those that they have legislation pending that they're trying to get through to where teachers can carry. So you've only got 6 states right now that don't care, that don't have any intentions on protecting their students. And those states are, let's see, California, New Mexico, Illinois, go figure, Virginia, and what's that state? Is that Connecticut? Vermont. That's Vermont. That could be Vermont. I have no freaking idea. It's been way too long since I've been in school. And Alaska. So those are the only states that don't care at all about your students, to where, they're okay with them, getting hurt. They don't want to, protect kids. This just says, just in school district. So I'm assuming, elementary school, junior high, and high school. So, considering it's mentioning school board, this doesn't say anything about colleges or anything like that. I think that's, a totally different, totally different thing altogether. Good question, though. But yeah, that's a totally different thing altogether. Those are, my assumption is it doesn't specifically say high school only, but my assumption is this goes through all, basically K through 12, from preschool on up to, senior and high school. That would be my guess. So like I said, I was very, very excited to hear those, those statistics, as far as who is able to carry in the state. I thought that was awesome that we do actually do that. It's a shame that it is a tool that is not utilized more than what it is. Let's just put it that way. It's a shame that it isn't. If they have the loopholes, if it is already approved, they should be doing it. They really should. So back to the fix of what I was talking to before. All right, this headline comes from Downhall. Gun manufacturer backs fix NICS bill, not NCIS, NICS, sees retaliation from customers. So this is one of the things that is a very good thing to do in order to actually get something done that would actually help keep guns out of the hands of criminals, you know. But basically, what it's talking about is the the NICS, and that stands for. Let me find it. The nope, that's the NSSF. Nope, that's the NRA. National Criminal Background Check System. No, I'm sorry, National Instant Criminal Background Check System. So that's what NICS stands for. And basically what they're doing is there is legislation in that they are trying to get passed. It's already been voted on and passed in the U.S. House of Representatives. While the bill has enough votes to pass the Senate, they still are needing to put pressure on them in order to make sure that it does get done before, and actually voted on before a president puts pen to paper. But what this NICS Act will do. Okay, now this one I've read through some aspects of it. It sounds good to me. I'm liking it so far. Or at least as written, I'm liking it. Who knows what stuff that they've let out to make it more expedient and smaller to, easier to read for people. You got a point, sir, that, how many, he asked the question of how many teachers do you think will actually carry? I would think it would be very few. And, that you're probably right. I mean, in all honesty, you very much are probably right. That's why you don't really see it right now, with only what I say, 6 states that don't have any type of legislation put in place in order for people inside the school to legally be able to carry a gun. Only 6 of them. But yet, how many places do you actually see, whether it be teachers, whether it be, board members, whether it be, security people or, janitors that actually carry? You don't see it. It's something that isn't talked about at all. And it's probably one of them things, though, too, it's like that because besides the obvious of, most of them are just liberally run. I highly doubt it would be public knowledge of which teachers are carrying. That would put them in, direct, I don't want to say direct danger. I mean, obviously you would think that would just do nothing more than make them a target. I really doubt that they would want to make that, knowledge as far as which ones are, actually able to carry. I would highly doubt it, but, I would think that, just kind of because of how the water is right now, as far as how people feel about, guns, they probably wouldn't want to make that information public, especially, and it's one of them things that's probably why they're not really doing it. I don't know how many states, of course, there's only 6 that don't do anything, but it would be interesting to find out how many states actually do have people, whether it be teachers or anything else, that do carry inside the school. That is something I would like to know. Well, yeah, I would very much think that you would have the right to know if, if and whom that teacher would be carrying. But, I understand the question, that, yeah, I would say that you would have a right to know, but as far as, I'm more or less looking at this in the aspect of what's that word I'm looking for? For that person's own. Well, okay, that's just like one of these instances. Okay, you go onto a plane, you have federal air marshals. We don't know who they are. And that's just as much for their safety as it is for ours. And I would at least like to know if there is, somebody in the school that is carrying, because that, for me, that would give me a peace of mind to know that my child, now granted, this is coming from somebody who doesn't have any children of his own. I've got nieces, I've got nephews, I've got, friends who have children whom I truly care about. I would like to know if they, inside the school district, are taken care of, if they are protected, If something happens, can the school, answer that, answer and retaliate? I would like to know. Me personally, it really wouldn't matter too much as far as whom, as long as I know that the school is doing everything that they possibly can in order to ensure that the person whom is carrying, has adequate training, and is proficient in the firearm at which they are handling. That for me would be enough, but I do understand, I would like to know who it is, but as long as I know that person is going through the training, that person is proficient, that person has been trained and is capable of doing it, I would like to think that I would be all right with it, Okay, so let's assume there's a school shooting. Oh, you've got to continue with the thought. This is actually a good thought. I'm liking it. It's a good question. The question posed was, if a teacher is carrying but hides in a closet, and does nothing, can I sue them for taking no action? Let me give you one better on that one. Would I want to sue the individual? No. Allow me to explain. The individual doesn't have any money. The school district does. Make it to where the individual can't be there, can't do that, can't, can't have that responsibility. And kind of like the officer that stood outside for, 4 minutes, he shouldn't be a responder in that manner. He should be at a desk, because if he can't do what he needs to do and do what he basically swore an oath to do, then he shouldn't be there. And the same goes for this person, So should this person necessarily be sued if they fail to act? No. But sue the school district, But it's one of them things, though, too. I mean, in that type of a situation, yes, it sucks. But until you're actually put in that type of a situation, you don't really know how you're going to react. I mean, you can go through all the training in the world, but the only way to even be sure and have one inkling of how you are, in order to know how you are going to react, would be to go through a live action fire range in the military, and then of which case wouldn't you want, former military as the ones guarding your children? I mean, those are the only ones that have had enough training in order to know how they would actually respond in a real life situation in a firefight, Well, I wouldn't really say that we're forcing them to confront a killer. I mean, look at it like this, Are you forcing a cop in order to confront a killer? That's part of his job. That's part of the duty that comes with the badge and the gun. That's part of it. So it wouldn't be a forcing them to confront anybody. It's this person is taking it upon themselves, a responsibility to protect our children. And we're giving them a gun and training in order for them to be able to do that. Is it forcing them? No, because they're asking for this responsibility, but you would still expect them to do that to the fullest of their ability, Well, yes, it does guarantee change. I would have to say that, yes, it very much would guarantee change, because just like I said, these aren't people that are just going to be thrown a gun willy-nilly and expected to do something. No, these are going to be people who want to. Let's face it, do you actually become a teacher because, for the pay? No, you become a teacher for the responsibility, because you care about what it is that you're doing, or at least in some way, shape, or form you care. Same thing goes for something like this. You care. So you're going to do what needs to be done, I would almost have to say yes, for the simple fact is that your role is basically changing from just a teacher to a teacher slash security guard. I would like to think that a little bit more of a pay increase or a pay benefit would go along with that, or at least in some way, shape, or form, or at least at very few, or in very least, the school should have to pay for the training, and maybe not necessarily pay for the service weapon, but pay for the training. Let's face it, that the training for doing something like that is not cheap. So, or at least accidental death and dismemberment. Maybe not 100% free life insurance, but like AD&D. Some type of benefit like that. Maybe not necessarily a pay increase, because then you got to ask the question: are you doing it for the pay? Or are you doing it for the students? But even still, I don't really see as somebody doing this that doesn't at least believe in what they're doing. So I really don't have that fear that, it's a valid question, but looking at it logically, especially whenever you're looking at law enforcement and security agents, I've got quite a few friends of mine that are security, in security, armed security. And I've got quite a few friends of mine that are, former police and current police. And, they're doing it because they truly feel and they believe in what they're doing. They believe in the law. They believe in, security. They believe in protecting and to serve. A lot of them do. So, I don't have that question of, are you going to, of course, it's always there. Are you going to freeze? Whenever something like that happens. But at the same time, these guys still go through quite a bit of training, so in those type of instances, it's the training that takes over. So, I don't really think of that as, it's not a fear of mine. I do understand that as a fear, but somebody who knows a little bit about the, what it takes to get a concealed carry, what it takes in order to, become an armed security guard, and the training that our military men and women go through, knowing a little bit about it, I don't see it as an issue. I really don't. So, I hope that put your mind at ease at least a little bit, But as somebody whom, not necessarily has personally gone through it myself, but I know people who have, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't concern me. It really doesn't. I would much rather have somebody in there that I know has gone through the training than have nobody in there and have to rely on a call to 911 in order to get somebody in there. That's what I would much rather see, and that's just my own personal take on it, but that's very much what I would like to see. So let's get back to this, the NICS bill. So one of the things that it's talking about in here is a mandate, is to mandate federal agencies to report criminal convictions to the Attorney General, require reporting of select mental health records that prohibit the purchase of firearms. And this is one of them things too. And I was kind of like, select mental records. I don't know about that one, but it does put a little side note into here that this fix NICS only seeks to require mental health records that fit current federal categories. So they're not expanding on anything. They're using the already mental category things in there, and that's what they want reporting on. Things that's already in there as far as what they're supposed to be getting reported on. And it also holds states and federal agencies accountable for failing to upload records. And here's one of them things, though, too, guys. All right, this is one of them aspects of why I've already said that there's not another law that you can do that is going to, that would have stopped the last tragedy that happened. No law would have been enough to stop it. And the law you write today is not going to prevent the one that's going to happen tomorrow. And here's why. They are already supposed to be doing all this stuff. Okay? This law right here is not a new law. All it does, if nothing else, it puts stricter penalties in place for not doing their stinking job. That's all it does. Because guess what? States and federal agencies are already supposed to be uploading the information. Okay? They're already supposed to have this. The Air Force, one of these gentlemen in here, it was because they, the Air Force waited and never did, upload the guy's service record to the FBI to where he would have been, uneligible to buy a weapon. If these people would have done their stinking job, there's, lives that would have been saved. A mass shooting that never would have happened had the government done their job. So is the problem the law, or is it the problem of people are not doing their job and the law isn't already holding them accountable? The law's already there. It was already a violation. They already broke the law by not doing their job. Hold them accountable. And all this, and all these guys are even talking about a fix that isn't a new law. It's putting stricter penalties on people for breaking the law that is already there. I have no idea if something like this is going to fix it. I mean, you would think that them writing that law in the first place would have fixed it, but apparently it hadn't, because now you got to write another law to make stricter penalties for the law that you already wrote years ago. So that's one of them reasons why a new law isn't going to help. Criminals don't care about laws. That's, they're criminals. They obviously don't care about laws. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's move on. Actually, you know what? I want to take a quick break. Right quick. And when I return, a little bit more on gun law. Let's see, there's a couple more articles I wanted to touch base on. Let me go ahead and look at it. Nope, I already talked about that one. Hidden agenda or ignorance. Yes, there's one of these articles that I have in here. There's a lot of information on it, and for the most part, I'm basically going to just, not completely just read the article to you, but there's a lot of stuff in here that sound pretty stinking good, and a lot of information that most people just don't realize, and the liberal left like to just, there's nothing to see here, and that's how they treat it, So a lot of good information in here that I've got for you. So, yeah, a couple minutes. Be right back.
Doing it live.
I will never send troops anywhere on a mission of that kind without telling them that if somebody shoots at them, they can darn well shoot back.
I thought that was kind of fitting for the topic at hand. Yeah. All right, this next headline. Now, this is one that I thought, or at least I think this is the one. Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of information in this one. Oh, I got a sneeze coming. I'm allergic to cats. I actually am. I'm very much allergic to aminals. Okay, so here we go. Hold on, I'm kind of looking into this a little bit. Maybe this isn't the one. Let's look at a different one. It doesn't, I mean, like, yeah, there's a butt ton of information in there. But maybe it's this one. I think it was this one. Maybe it wasn't that. It wasn't that one. Good grief, man. I hate it whenever I do that. Lose an article. Nope. That's the one I just got done looking at. Here we go. Maybe it was this one. Actually, I think it was. Oh, yeah. I found it. All right. Yep. Same picture was on two totally different, articles. So here we go. Let's just go ahead and go right through this one. Now, this one, again, there's a lot of good information in this one. Some statistics, not near as much statistics as what's in this other one. But I did go ahead and put that in there if you guys want to look at it and, read through the stats yourself. I mean, you can go on the FBI, statistics and look at, how many gun deaths and what they're from and knife deaths and automobile accidents and all kinds of other things. And yet, the only thing that's even targeted is guns, not the people, but the guns. And, this article right here, and this one comes from Charlotte Patch. The headline is ICYMI. Here's the number of firearm deaths in North Carolina. And it's got a lot of stats in here, a lot of information, a lot of FBI statistics. And, it's one of them things that's clear to see who the loser is, But the one that I'm actually looking at, and this one actually comes from the Daily Wire, and its headline is Williams, Hidden Agenda or Ignorance. So before we discuss, I'm just kind of going to read from this. So before we discuss violence with guns, I'd like to run a couple of questions by you. According to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, every day nearly 30 Americans die in motor vehicle crashes that involve drunk driving. What kind of restrictions should be placed on automobile ownership? Should there be a federal background checks in order for people to obtain a driver's license, or should there be a federal background checks in order for people to obtain a driver's license or purchase a car? The FBI's 2015 Uniform Crime Report shows that nearly 3 times more people were stabbed or hacked to death than were killed with shotguns and rifles combined. The number of shotguns and rifle deaths totaled 548. People who were stabbed or hacked to death totaled 1,573. Should there be a federal background checks and waiting periods for knife purchases? These are valid questions. Every single one of these, extremely valid questions. Why aren't they asked? So any mature and reasonable person would argue that it is utter nonsense to deal with driving deaths and knife deaths by having federal background checks and waiting periods to obtain driver's licenses or to purchase a car or a knife. One would recognize, just as courts and the general public do, that cars and knives are inanimate objects and cannot act on their own. Therefore, if we want to do something about deaths resulting from drunk driving or being stabbed or hacked to death, we must focus on individuals. It would be folly and gross negligence of victims for us to focus on inanimate objects like cars and knives. Guns are also inanimate objects, and like cars and knives, cannot act on their own. It is also plain folly to focus on guns in the case of shooting deaths. And this sucker even goes on to, the state that, of the ads on how they were targeted, on how they targeted, both, men, women, and children. How back in the day it wasn't unheard of and was common practice for a father to get his son a nice, 22 caliber O. Henry rifle for his anywhere from his 12th birthday to his 14th birthday, But yet, there wasn't as many, gun-related crimes back then. But nowadays, whenever, morality has basically been blown out the window, we're having these increase, even though guns are harder to come by than what they were back in the, 1940s, 50s, and 60s. So is the problem the gun? Even though they still don't shoot themselves, it takes a person to shoot them because they are an inanimate object. Or is the problem something else that we as a society do not want to face and acknowledge? I think it would be the latter, and that is the problem. But that basically puts the entire thing on the fact that our society just does not cherish life the way it used to, the way we as a people used to, very much putting the blame on us, Let me check to see if there was any other articles I was wanting to get to in here, and it actually no, actually it looks like I'm done. Kick ass. All right, guys. Well, I thank you very much for tuning in. If you like what you seen and whatnot, don't forget to give me the thumbs up. And also, if you want to get notifications on, shows and whatever else that I end up doing on the YouTube channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So I thank you guys very much for tuning in, and you have yourselves a wonderful evening. Thank you much.